Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special edition of the Don Lemon Show. Today, I'm glad to be chatting with the one and only, and actually is a mentor. I've watched him and go, I want to be like that guy. And that is Montel Williams. You may know him from his Emmy-nominated daytime talk show. You may know him as the host of Military Makeover on Lifetime. What you may not know is that he served as a Marine and as a highly decorated naval officer for nearly 22 years. Now, I knew that. Maybe you guys don't know that. What's more, he has a new book out. It's called The Sailing of the Intrepid. It's a narrative history of the harrowing wartime voyage of this iconic USS Intrepid. Welcome. Good to see you, Montel. How you doing?
Thanks so much for having me, Don. I really appreciate it, my friend. Good to see you again on the screen.
Yes, you as well. You have many accomplishments. Go on.
Oh, no, I was going to say, one of these days, you and I ought to think about teaming up, DM, Don and Montel. Come on now.
I'll do it. Look.
I'll do a couple episodes with you, my friend.
We go way back, Montel. I just want to tell you that this is a fantastic book. I think it's a great undertaking, and it is really doing well. I'm getting reports on your book. It's going well.
It is. We were blessed when we launched about a month ago. We ended up getting 3 number 1 positions with Amazon. We were number 1 for World War II history. We were number 1 for Vietnam history, believe it or not, and we were number 1 for naval history. So I was really happy about that. I know you're going to kick me up on the New York Times bestseller list, so I'm excited. Yes.
Look, I've interviewed you before, and I believe it's about your book, but I didn't realize you've done 6.
Hey, this is my 9th book, believe it or not.
Oh my God!
Is that crazy?
I didn't know that.
Writer. I'm sitting down right now. I and David Fisher, who collaborated with me on this book, we're thinking about going back to our publisher and talking about a 10th book. So I'm really looking forward about that and excited.
Why is this book doing so well? What sets The Sailing of the Intrepid apart, and what's different about the writing process this time around? Because this one was really special to you.
I think one of the things that's most special about this book is the fact that, it reads when you read it, and people have told me this over and over and over again. It reads like a cinematic novel rather than a history book. Though we've done a considerable amount of work in history in this book. So if you're a history enthusiast and you're a naval history enthusiast or a war enthusiast, this would be the book for you, because we not only take you through what happened, but we kind of also then demonstrate why things happened and try to figure out the solutions to what they had to come up with. Mm-hmm. The Intrepid, a lot of people only know it because it's that ship that sits along the West Side Highway. People ride by it, and they know it's the Airspace and Naval Museum or Naval Museum. But the Intrepid is probably one of our most iconic historical vessels that still survived.
Right.
And it really harkens back to a time where it was only a short period of time, I believe, in America where America really truly tried to live up to its, legacy and expectations and its history in a time when, you got this almost 3 football field long thing that had well over 3,000 people on it, was one of the largest, most advanced ships of the time. It had a crew that was made up of people from all over America, all over the country, guys who had desperate attitudes, had different opinions about things from north, south, east, west, but they all came together to achieve a goal, and that was to make this ship last through the war and help this ship be part of our victory sail.
Well, it did last. As you said, it's on the West Side Highway in New York City, and most people, everyone says, when they go, I'm going to the Intrepid, there's an event on the Intrepid, but I don't believe enough people take it in. This is what blew me away. I want to talk about the Intrepid because in 1944, this is what you write about, during its first combat mission, the Intrepid was struck by a Japanese torpedo, resulting in the rudder was jammed at a 45-degree angle. The crew lost the ability to steer the ship, but then somehow they were able to survive and able to get it right. And that your book goes through that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this ship, again, it had just been commissioned, just got into the fleet, and matter of fact, became part of one of the largest armadas we had ever put together. It was ever put together at sea in history, and had 2 successful missions. One of them in the Marshall Islands. It launched its first attack against, I think it was Kwajalein, extremely successful. Then it went into Truck Island and launched attacks there, extremely successful. But when it was about to leave the harbor of Truk and was headed back out for its next mission, a lone Japanese bomber spotted it by following its trail in the water and came in just, hovering, I'm telling you, 30, 40, 50 feet above the deck, dropped a single torpedo that hit it in its rudder. And like you explained very well, by jamming that rudder, it caused it to careen out of control. It almost hit the USS Essex, which
Wow.
was its sister ship. And had it done so, that would have been one of the biggest um, ocean sea catastrophes in the history of any
Master.
warfare.
Yeah.
Because there were 3,000 people on both ships.
Wow.
But the crew and this captain, who was singularly a very exceptional individual, pulled together all those people on his crew that could make decisions, from his executive officer to his damage control officer to some of the petty officers and enlisted guys. They got together and they kind of tried to come up with ideas. How can we get the ship to sail straight? And one of them said, well, what if we put a sail on the bow? Now, talking about the most advanced warship ever built, relying on the most ancient technology for nautical seafaring, the sail. Let's put it on the front, and we won't use that as propulsion. We'll use that to counterbalance the waves, the currents, and the winds to allow it to go straight. And they sailed this thing close to 3,300 miles back to Hawaii, where it was then put in, given a makeshift rudder to take it up to San Francisco to be put in dry dock, was repaired, went back into battle. 2 weeks later, gets hit by one of the first kamikaze aircraft to ever hit a ship. Got hit by two. Went back into dry dock, got repaired, came back into battle, got hit by two more. Went back into dry dock, came back into battle, actually finished out World War II very successfully. Korea, Vietnam, and then became a recovery ship for the NASA space program.
Montel, this is a movie.
Where
You're writing a movie
this
script.
is a
There's
movie.
no way all this happened.
And I can tell you something. I am so proud of the fact that David Fisher, who is one of our most iconic writers of our time, guy's written over 100 books. 35 plus have been New York Times bestsellers. He's had multiple of his books picked up for an option for feature films. David does such a really good job once he's handed the research in literally culling out those facts and those little pieces and those little tidbits about the members of the crew and the people's personal lives that made this thing really come to life. And it's one of those, once you get it, if you sit down with it, I'm telling you, you're not going to want to stop it until you're done in 2 days.
Is there a movie, you think?
Well, I got to tell you, I right now have a very, very successful producer in Hollywood who had called me up after he got a copy and said, you know what, we got to talk about this. Let me take it out, and I'll let you know in the next couple of weeks where I get to. So it's being bounced around right now to see if we can get some interest in it.
Good luck, man. I would love to see that on film, on the big screen, as they say. Listen, I wonder if did
I would too.
Did telling this story in a way change how you reflect on your naval career? It's kind of relatable, obviously, to you.
It is relatable. I spent a lot of time on the USS Kitty Hawk. I did a full deployment in the Indian Ocean on one carrier. I've spent time on other carriers when I was visiting troops in the North Arabian Sea and the Persian Gulf. It made me really stop and reflect on what the true meaning of comradeship and the true meaning of, when you put your hand up in the air and you say, I support and defend the Constitution of the United States. This is what these guys did. And at a time when America really had no idea what its future would be, this group of people came together, put aside all their differences to do one thing. And that one thing was to win a war. And, I don't know, I didn't tell you the last part of this. When the ship got done, it was getting ready to be retired, scrapped. One of the Fisher brothers at the time, Zachary Fisher, stepped in and bought it because he realized how important this was as a legacy to America's warfighters. He bought it, then talked to Mayor Koch at the time and said, you know what, I think I can help you turn this into a museum off the West Side Highway. And he said, well, if you can make it happen in Hell's Kitchen, it's pretty shady down there, but if you help repair the whole area, I'll let you do it. Boom, they did it. And that's what saved the ship.
Support for the Don Lemon Show today comes from Brickhouse Nutrition. Guys, you should go big on this sale and get stocked up on the best supplements from Brickhouse Nutrition. Their July 4th sale is on, and for a limited time, you could save 25% off everything with the code word Fireworks25. That includes Lean, their number one selling weight loss supplement. No injections, just real results from studied natural ingredients. It's a great time to slim down for summer. Or you can try Field of Greens. It is the superfruit and vegetable drink that literally promises your doctor will notice your improved health or your money back. See, it's risk-free. So Field of Greens, by the way, happens to be my personal favorite. It is all natural and I get all the nutrition I need from a bunch of different vegetables and fruits. Literally, everything from Brickhouse Nutrition is incredible, and I hear listeners rave about their collagen peptides, and beauty experts swear that collagen is the fountain of youth for your skin and hair. So guys, let's go. Let's get stocked up on their incredible supplements, okay? Go to brickhousenutrition.com and use the code word Fireworks25 for 25% off. This sale's only on for a few days, and I know these products are gonna sell out, okay? So that's brickhousenutrition.com, brickhousenutrition.com. Support comes from the Freedom from Religion Foundation. It's summer, campfires, late night conversations, people swapping stories. But lately, one group is trying to control the whole story, claiming that the U.S. was founded as a Christian nation and pushing their religion into classrooms, into courtrooms, and even your doctor's office. In Arizona, voters just protected abortion rights in the state constitution, but politicians are trying to undermine it anyway. So Texas is pushing bills to force the Ten Commandments into every public school classroom. Seriously. And in Congress, a bill just passed to strip Medicaid coverage for gender-affirming care for all ages. This isn't about personal beliefs. It's about power. And it's all happening under the banner of Christian nationalism. That's where the Freedom from Religion Foundation comes in. They've been defending church-state separation since 1978 in the courts, in the schools, and wherever religion tries to take the wheel. If you believe government should serve everyone, not just the religious right, then join them. Go to ffrf.us/freedom or text my name, Don, to 511-511 and become a member today. Join us and go to ffrf.us/freedom or text Don to 511-511 now. Because the only story that should run this country is ours, not theirs. Text fees may apply. Hey, Montel, I want to pivot a bit, and I just want to reflect on
Sure.
your career and who you are. I'm so curious how your military background really influenced your media career, because folks who remember, and I believe that I'm right, correct me if I'm wrong, you were the first Black man in the United States to host a daytime talk show, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
I'm the first African American male to have a talk show in his own name.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, and a daytime talk show. So you're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Yeah. I mean, that's quite an accomplishment. Now 17 years you did that? That's
17 years.
great.
So crazy, right?
Yeah, but you got to be proud.
I am proud. I look back at it, would I want to do it again today the same way as I did it back then? No. However, is there an opening or an opportunity to discuss issues and things that are important like you do every day on your podcast? Yes. And I think America needs a different perspective. I guarantee you, I'm probably the most independently neutral person you will ever find. I'm not right, I'm not left. I make my decisions and determine my opinions based on the issue in front of me and that issue alone. And I could care less what anybody else thinks. I'm going to call upon my history, my experiences to form my own opinions. And those will be the ones that I literally support and project.
Yeah. I wonder what you think about because you're obviously a legend in the TV business, right? And I would watch you every day. Look, it was a different time back then, right? There's so many different places to consume media now. I would sit and I'd watch you, I'd watch Oprah, I'd watch Phil Donahue, I'd watch Sally Jesse Raphael. That was, I believe when you were on, that was the golden age of the talk show. And man, you did it well. But I'm wondering what you think about how you feel about the media ecosystem, how it's evolved over the last few decades or so, because we have a shift from broadcast and cable to streaming now, Montel. And some people are calling it the democratization of media. But there are others who say it's the explosion of TikTok and the like, that it has fueled disinformation. I just wonder how you feel about this whole thing.
I agree 100%. I'm sorry. One of the things that you did touch on, a lot of people don't remember. My show started back in 1991, in May of 91, and May of 91 was 4 months before normal news shows launched. They normally launch in September. I'll take you on a trip down memory lane. When my show started, there were only 4 talk shows on the air: Oprah, Sally, Donahue, and Geraldo.
Yeah.
Regis and Kathy Lee were considered a early fringe show, not even a talk show, a daytime
Yeah.
talk show. So after me, there was Chuck Woolery had a show in September.
Oh my gosh.
Ronald Reagan Jr. had his own show.
Yes.
John Tesh and Lisa Gibbons had a show
Yes.
together.
Yep.
Jane Pratt had a show. All of them got canceled. A year later, then Maury Povich started. And it wasn't another year later until Ricky Lake started. So when I went on air, my show was immediately compared to the other 4 hosts that were on air at the time, which gave me a little bit of a buffer in between all the plethora of new shows that came. I'll tell you a little fact. Over 123 shows came and went while I stayed on air. Now, having said that, back then I was producing 3 shows a day, and my shows averaged at least 10 guests a show. So I ended up doing well over 3,300 shows. So it was kind of crazy back then because we were the reality shows of the day. We were the only ones dealing with real people's issues. And then that blew up into this thing of reality shows with housewives turning over desks and tables, to farmers turning over desks and tables, to now this thing where instead of, at the time, us giving people a voice who didn't have one, now there are some people who have voices that don't need them that are out there espousing whatever they want to espouse and not even bothering to fact check what they're talking about. You see it every day. I saw it today, this morning. I'm looking at the news this morning. I'm one of those kind of weird news junkies. I flip channels, man. I might watch a little Fox for a minute. I might watch a little CNN for a minute. I'll turn on MSNBC for a second. But I'm sitting there with the remote control in my hand, and the first one that pisses me off makes me change to the next channel because it's like, did you bother to fact check what came out of your mouth? And I'll start
Yeah.
screaming at the TV, and my wife TH, and she's like, "Shh, baby, calm down, calm down." I was like, "Okay, I'll calm down."
Yeah, I do the same thing. Like, did you wait a minute? That person's lying to you. Stop them right now. Go ahead. It's frustrating. But
I think there used to be a saying, this way back in the day in news: if it bleeds, it leads.
yeah,
Remember that saying, right?
yeah,
Well, now if it lies, it leads.
it leads.
So
Yeah,
we prefer to have lies rather than have any truth. And unfortunately, our general public isn't read enough because we've all relied so heavily on social media to answer questions that we don't even know whether or not we're getting a legitimate answer, but we run with the answer that we get, even though it may be wrong.
yeah,
The general public is hit with so much information that they don't have the bandwidth inside their brain to discern what's right and what's wrong, what's true and what's false. They just run with it.
yeah,
And this I got to tell you something, my friend. We continue down this path, we will legitimately live up to the saying, we've lived our best days.
yeah. I don't know what the fix is because we don't have a shared sense of reality or even a shared sense of, sadly, what facts, what a fact is anymore. And you saw that it's playing out now, but we saw it playing out during the election and et cetera. If you don't mind, can I talk to you for a moment about politics? And I mean this in the most earnest way. So you played an unexpected role in the 2024 election after right-wing trolls bizarrely tried to weaponize your relationship with the former Vice President Harris. What do you make of how she was treated during the campaign?
It's so if you remember, Don, I don't know if you remember this, but back in 2016, 6 months before the election back then, I was on your show and you asked me, well, that Donald Trump is running, do what do you think? And I said, dude, do not count him out. Do not count him out. People are overlooking this guy could possibly win. I told all my friends back then, they were going, oh, you're crazy, it's not going to happen. And of course, what happened? He won. Then we jump forward, and then this same group, in 2024, lots of people out here decided they were going to try to make a 20-year-old relationship that the former vice president had with somebody who didn't matter at the time because it was 20 years old, make that some sort of an issue. Now, number one, I took exception because there were a couple of pundits on Fox who were going, she even went out once as if I'm not worthy of going out with people, A. But B, I took exception because had it been anybody else, nobody cared. Had it been a male, nobody cares. We didn't back then dig into people's high school sweethearts and say that that somehow reflects on them 30 years later. And so I took great exception with that and still do to today. It's like, people will ask me every now and then, but you dated Kamala Harris. So I say, so what?
Right.
And she went on to marry somebody else, and so did
Right.
I. So
Right.
what? What difference does it make?
Yeah. I just want, because it's just, how do you think it was a double standard for her during the campaign? I just wonder how you think she was treated, because I do believe, as you said, I do think it's a double standard. And why would you care about someone's relationship 20 years ago or more, and they would not be saying the same thing about a man?
Absolutely. That really irked me beyond belief, because it was like, come on, man. I mean, is that really how low we have to stoop? And I will tell you something, Don. And I don't say this again. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back or anything, but and I won't give out who I voted for because it's my right to vote and vote in silence. However, I will tell you, I knew this country was not ready to elect Vice President Harris to be the president long before anybody even started to question whether or not she should run. Whether we like it or not, we've got to understand that America has changed in the last now 10 years, changed in a way that there is a desperate part of this society that refuses to let go of any power. We're in a position right now where we have people out there that, whether we want to admit it or not, whether we want to talk about it in the right way or not, there are people in this country who want to re-enslave people. Let's get this part straight. If they can kick out all the other brown and dark-skinned people, only leaving African Americans here in this country as the dark-skinned people, there are people, whether they want to use chains, whips, and cells to enslave, or they want to do it economically, medically, and other ways, they are pushing for a chance to enslave people again. And we've got to stop it.
Support for the Don Lemon Show comes from 120 Life. Did you know that high blood pressure is the number one risk factor for mortality? 1 in 2 adults has it, and that's a 50-50 chance you're a walking time bomb. Truly. And as with many families, there's a history of high blood pressure in my own family. My mother has it, my grandmother had it, and so did my sister. It was one of the reasons she was in such poor health. My dad also had diabetes. But here's the good news. You can take control of your blood pressure naturally without relying on Big Pharma. 120 Life is a blend of great tasting superfruit juices that have been shown to actually help lower your blood pressure. It is not just for high blood pressure though. It's also beneficial for other health conditions like diabetes. 120 Life is trusted by healthcare professionals with hundreds of doctors recommending it to help manage blood pressure naturally. It provides visible, measurable changes in blood pressure. You can use a simple monitor at home to track your progress. For a limited time, try 120 Life and save 20% off. Just use the code DON at checkout at 120life.com. 120 Life offers a risk-free trial with a full refund if you don't see lower numbers in 2 weeks. So go to 120life.com and use the code DON to save 20%. There's nothing to lose except your high blood pressure numbers. Go to 120life.com and use the code DON to save 20% off. Remember, you must use the code DON to get this special offer. This is serious. This is your life we're talking about. 120 Life can help. Do you think the Hill is reporting that Kamala Harris may, run for governor of California? What do you think of that?
I'm not sure. If I had a chance to advise her, I might advise her against it. Because look, there's two different things. Is she qualified? Is she capable? Could she do a great job? Hell yes. There's no question in that. Hell yes. has America hit a point in its time where it can't handle a strong African American woman like her or a woman of color like her? Yeah, we're at a place where America can't handle that. And
Why is
does
that?
the
Why are
others?
we at a place? Explain that. Talk to me more about that.
We're living, even though we won't use the word Jim Crow, we're living at a time when Jim Crow is as rampant as it could ever have been and will be even more rampant in the next couple of years. There is so much vitriolic hate between the races that if she does run, it will just be an issue of race in California. And if it is an issue of race in California, she will lose.
Damn. Wow.
And I'm sorry. People can call me and get mad and say, "Well, Montel, you didn't say that." Stop the lying. Put a mirror up in front of yourself. Take a look in that mirror. We are at the most segregated time in American history right now. Most segregated. Go across the South, you'll see more segregated schools than we've seen in the last 40 years. Go across the South, we'll see more segregated neighborhoods than we've seen in over 40 years. Go across the middle of this country and you'll see more segregated neighborhoods than we've ever seen. We'll see more hateful vitriol than we've ever seen. Look up online right now. There are hundreds of race-baited, angry websites that are trying to divide us even more. So, I think I say this going back, and now I'm not trying to make a shameless plug back to my book, but I'm just trying to go back to it. There was a time back when America realized that it was going to take all of us to get to the next level. Mm-hmm. Whether we liked it or not, it was going to take all of us to get to the next level. That's the reason why we open our borders and allow people to come in to pick our food, grapes and stuff. What's going on right this minute, Don? Look around in the South, as parts of the southern part of the country, where there are farms that are closing down, leaving fruits and vegetables on the vine. Why? Because we kicked out all those people that were picking them. And right now, there's not a poor white kid in America or a poor black kid in America that's going to go spend more than 15 minutes in the field picking anything. Yeah. Ain't happening. So, what are we going to do? We've got to get to a point where when you hear all this talk about we want to force people to go back into work service to get their benefits, whether it be Medicare, Medicaid, whatever it is, when they start dangling out and saying in front of you, you don't get any health care unless you go pick that grape, what you going to do? You won't get any health care. You won't get any services. You won't get any clean water in your community unless you go out there and pick those grapes. What are you going to do? And remember, there was a time in this country where Polish people, Italian people, Spanish people, Middle Eastern people, Eastern Europeans were looked at and treated at the same level that black people were treated. Oh, no, not the same level, just about. So for those out there that are thinking that just because of the shade of my skin, I might be able to get away with something, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah. Montel, the book is called The Sailing of the Intrepid. Where can folks find it, and where can we find more of your content, sir?
I have a couple of podcasts. One is called Let's Be Blunt with Montel, and the other one is called Free Thinking with Montel. I'm up with a new show in Free Thinking. I think it's every 2 weeks, and a new show with Let's Be Blunt every week. You can get The Sailing of the Intrepid anywhere books are sold. We are all over the place. And fortunately, right before we came on, I was able to tell you that we hit 3 number one spots with Amazon. So go up on Amazon and buy one. I am so psyched. I'm hoping that this turns into a movie, and I'll be sitting there with a smile from here to here.
Yeah. Well, the great Montel Williams never slows down. Man, you're working more than me.
Oh my goodness!
I didn't think that was possible. The Sailing of the Intrepid by Montel Williams. Montel, so good to see you. Come back, please.
Anytime, my friend. You stay well, Don. Tell your husband I said hi, and just again from my wife to you. She loves you, my friend. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you very much. Real quickly though, how's your health?
I am really hanging tough, my friend. Most of your viewers know I have MS. I suffered a stroke, but I've bounced back. I've been able to stay on top of it because I've been working on initiatives to not just help myself, but to help us all. And so I've got a lot more stuff coming to you right now. I'll reach back out to you because I'll tell you one I know you probably want to talk about. I've been working on a protocol which is now considered the number one treatment for PTSD in the world. In 5 to 10 hours, it can relieve all symptoms of PTSD without any medication at all. It's deployed right now into Poland and Ukraine. Just got studied by Walter Reed, got studied at King's College. It's over the top, and we're trying to get this out here not only for our warfighters, but for anybody who suffers from any form of post-traumatic stress.
Montel, thank you, sir. I'll see you soon.
Thank you. You take care. Yes, sir.
Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.